Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have another good looking puzzle here in front of us. This one is called My A Game by Pink Goblin. And I can kind of see like a little pink goblin kind of thing going on here. Little hat, what have you. Or a character of some sort. Maybe not that's intended, but that's what I'm going to go with. Anyway, let's jump into the rules on this one and get started on it. Because it looks like it's going to be quite fun to do. So we have standard Sudoku rules apply. The digits 1 through 9 appear in every row, box, and column. So every row, every column, and 3x3 box contains digits 1 through 9. So just normally how I would state it. Nothing wrong with the way this is stated. I'm just talking for some reason. We got adjacent digits along green German whisper line must differ by at least 5. So any of these, this is a green line, this is a green line, and this is a green line. Any of those lines, each digit that's next to each other must just be different by a value of 5. Then we've got digits along a purple Renban line must form a set of non-repeating consecutive digits in any order. So the other lines here are all of our purple Renban lines. And they, of course, as stated, these digits must all be consecutive, but they can be in any order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or something along those lines. Then we've got digits along an arrow must sum to the number included in the circle from which the arrow emerges. Digits may repeat along arrows if allowed by other rules. So we've got a couple of arrows, this one and this one. So these 4 digits, when you add them all together, whatever their value is what's going to go into the circle. Same goes for this one, but with different numbers. Now we've got digits in cells separated by a white dot are consecutive. Not all dots are necessarily given. These are a portion of Kropki dot rule sets. So these 2 digits, whatever they are, must be consecutive. So 1, 2, 5, 6, whatever it may be. And that's it. So no crazy rules here, just kind of some standard Sudoku variants, but I always love a good puzzle that has characters created out of the clue set. So anyway, let's jump into this one and see if we can get it solved. So the question's going to be, where do we start? Now, one thing to note, and I'm not necessarily going to start here, is that this looks to be a 9-cell Renban lines, which means every digit must appear on this line at some point. It's not obviously true for these guys, because these are 3 and 4 cells long. These arrows, I think, are going to be the most intriguing to start with, at least for me. So let's take a look at that and see if that's the place that's going to be the where we want to get into this thing. So what are our bare minimums? Well, we know these 3 digits are all in the same region, so they must therefore be unique digits. So the bare minimum here is 1, 2, 3, and we add 2 more 1s, so we get 6, 7, 8. So this has to at least be an 8, so it's either an 8 or a 9. Now this guy, on the other hand, has some, and I'll come back to this one in a second once I look at this, just the bare minimums, but this guy looks like he has a lot more range to him, because these 2 could be 1, 2, and I guess these 2 could also be 1 and 2. We can't have both of these be 1s and have this be 1, 2 as well, because wherever you put a 1 would conflict with these. So it looks like the bare minimums would be a 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I don't know that we can necessarily, I don't think we can reduce that or have any, or increase what that could be in either way. To think about it, so no. So I think we're looking at least a 6 down here. So I'm going to put that in there. Now, what I guess we do know is we're going to have, along this line particularly, we're going to have some minimums. And I think what we're going to know, or maximum digits that we can ever put in them. And I think what it's going to do, it's going to correlate to this German whisper line and tell us where we have lows and high digits. So let's just do a quick marking of what these can really be. Now, if this is a 1, 2, 3 as a bare minimum, let me remove these from that equation for the moment. That's already 6, so we can only have 3 more. So these can only be a possible combination that adds up to 3. And if that's the case, they can only be from 1 or 2. They can either both be 1s and be equal to 2, or it could be a 1-2 kind of pair, and we can never have two 2s. We can't have a 3 and a 1. That just won't work. And that being the case here, these now, the bare minimums they can be is a 1-1 pair, which means the most, which is 2 obviously, so the most we can ever get to in these 3 digits is up to 7, because 2 plus 7 would equal 9. So that's the bare minimum here seems to be a 1, 2, 4. So we know we're going to have a 1, 2, and a 2 in this region somewhere. Then we know at least one of these is a 1. Now, we can rule out this being a 1, because if this is a 1, it's forced to be a 2, and then we break our line here, so this can't be a 1. And, well, this can't be a 4, because it can never be consecutive with a 2. I don't think, well, can this be, yeah, this could be a 3. This could be a 3 that goes with a 2. And this would have to be a 1, 2 here with a 1 here. But anyway, going back to what I was thinking of is that now we have gotten to the point where we can say that these two guys are low digits, and we have a German whisper situation. So every time we move along our German whisper, we're going from high to low, high to low, high to low, etc., etc. So we know all of these digits here are all low digits, and I'll mark them in blue. And we know all of these are high digits, so I'll mark them in orange because that's how I normally mark them. And that's filled out our hat here pretty nicely. Nice pattern. Now, we know these both have to be low, and they have some sort of consecutiveness to them. And essentially, we can just kind of type in what can these guys be. This could be from 1, 2, or 3. Well, it can't be a 1, because if we had this be a 1, both of these would have to be a 2. So this is either going to be a 1 to a 2 to a 3, or it's going to be a 2 to a 3 to a 4. And that being the case, these two digits are going to be very high digits. Now, I'm kind of wondering if we want to continue to put in these numbers, or if we want to try to find something else that's going to reduce what these possibilities can be further. And I don't know if it's an issue, because these can only be 8 or 9. So if this is a 3 at the bare minimum, 5 away from 3 is 8. So 8 and 9 are our bare minimums here. Now, I guess with looking at that being an 8, 9, we can then make some determination of what this can be. These both have to be high digits, so this has to be high. You can't go high, low, then back up to high in the same region like this. So we have 3 high digits, and this is the 4th high digit. And if we know that, and we can't go to a mid either, so let's look at the possibility of a 5. We can't have a 5 here, because we can't go a high digit that hits a 5 and then comes back to a high digit. So it can't be 6, 5, 6. We're repeating digits. It's the same concept. This couldn't be low. So as we can see now, we have all of our lows and all of our highs. So this just must be a 5. And we can say this is a low digit as well, but it cannot ever be a 4, because all of these would have to be 4s. In fact, this can't ever be a 3 either, because if this is a 3, all 3 of these have to be 8s and 9s. So this is either a 1 or a 2. So we get a 1, 2 pair. We know this is a 3 then. We know this is a 4. It forces this to be a 2 and this to be a 1. Now, if this is a 4, these are both 9s. And now we can go back and look at our situation here, I think. Because we know now this is a 2. We said that this cannot be another 2, because we're at a 4 there already. And the bare minimum we can ever do here would be 1, 2, 3, which is 6. And that gets us 10. So this is a 1. Now, if it's a 1, this has to be our 2. These can't be 2s. This now is the only place a 1 can go. And we are now at 2, 3, and this has to be a 1, 2, 3, 6, because we can't go to the 7 anymore. So this is just the 3. Now, if this is a 3, we have a 2 here, so we can't put a 2 down here, so this has to be a 4. And we can also look back over here and say we have to have this be a 6, 7, 8 triple, because all that's left, and the middle digit is always going to be the 7. And this has to be the 8 because it's in between a 1 and a 2, so we can't ever put a 6 here. So if we put a 6 here, these would both have to be 1. This is 6. Okay. Now I'm going to leave this happy little hat here in terms of color the way it is. And we'll see if we need to include any further coloring in this one or not, or if we can kind of just move through what we already have here. So we know we have 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 9. This can no longer be 9. Now that we have some of these digits, we might actually have some reductions in what these things can actually be. Now let's take a look at that and see if we get anything super useful here. The other thing would be to start looking at our Renban. But I think I'm going to start in the arrow first, because we know we have a 3 on our Renban now, so we can't ever have another 3. But there's going to be situations like 1, 2s, and 4s. Where do they go? There might be situations where they start getting reduced, but I'm going to try to get a little bit more information on the grid before we start going into that route. So we know the bare minimum here is going to be a 2. We know this would be a 1, 2 minimum. This can't be a 2. So let's just put them in this way for the moment. And that doesn't really help me, does it? Because we end up with the same situation we really started with for the moment, where we have a 1, 2 pair, and we have a 2, 1 pair here, so we're at the 6. Okay, so I'm going to remove those markings just because I don't want to continue to have that sitting there. The next thing we can go back and look and see if we can fill in some of these high digits on our German whisper line. So we know this has to at least be 7, but it can't be 9, so it's a 7 or an 8. This has to be 7, 8, or not, or 6, 7, 8, or 9, sorry, but not 9, 6, 7, or 8, because the 9 sees this, and this guy looks like he can pretty much be, oh no, he can't be a 6, because we have a 1 here, which wouldn't allow this to be a 1, so this can't be 6, but it could be 7, 8, or 9. This has to be from 2, 3, or 4. All right, now that we've got those, what can we do further? Now we've got a couple of Renbans and German whispers that are kind of off on the sides here. I think this might be, while it's probably very useful for maybe finalizing the puzzle, these might be more of a little bit of an aesthetic type of use here until we get further down, where we're going to need to differentiate these. I'm sure they have, not saying they're only aesthetic, but they have purpose here to resolve things, but they're also probably used as an aesthetic nature. That's what I'm trying to say. So let's look, well, that said, let's look at this guy, because it looks like he actually has more value than I thought he might in terms of separating things at this moment. I thought it might be further down the line. Where do we put a 1 in this box? We have to put in one of these two, which means these two are low digits, and this has to be a high digit. Now, if this has to be a high digit, and it can't be 8 or 9 because 8 and 9 are looking at it, this can't also be a 6 because these both have to be ones, and they both have to be 1s. So this has to just be a 7. That's a 7. This is an 8, and these therefore have to be a 1, 2 pair because 7 has to go with 1 or 2, and we have a 2 here, so we can put the 1 and the 2. All right, now let's look further on our Sudoku, because I didn't quite expect to get that bit done quite easily. So maybe there's more there we're waiting to find out. Okay, so 1s. Where can 1s go down here? They can't go on here, because if this, or any of, well, let's start fresh. They can't be in any of these because of basic Sudoku. They also can't go on this white Kropki because there's a 2 up here, so this has to be a 1, 2 pair. It cannot be. So there is a 1 on our Renban, which means this has to be from a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this cannot be 4, this can't be 1 or 3, and this can't be 2. So we know one of these is a 4, and this can't be a 1, because we just said it couldn't be, because it would create the 1, 2. That's why it's over there. So if this is a 3 or a 4, well, okay, so we know these have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's no digit, we can't reuse any of those digits in the same region, So we must have a digit that's higher than that to be consecutive. So this has to be our 5, and therefore this is 4 and 2, and this ends up being a 1-3 pair. Now, these digits now are left as 6, 7, 8, and 9. This can't be 9. These can't have a 6 on them, so there's an 8 in here, because it's either 7, 8, or 8, 9, so we can get rid of our 8s here. This can't be 7. And this can't be 9. So we either have a 7-8 pair or a 9-8 pair. And we have a 6 in one of these two, and whichever one isn't, use the 7 or the 9 goes back in. Okay. Now, does that actually give us more information about what this can be? Because we know it can't be a 1, 2, 3. It can't have 1, 2, or 3 in it. It could be 4, 5 is a possibility. It can't have a 6 in it, so it can't be 5, 6, or 6, 7. And it can't be 7, 8, because it would break this, and it can't be 8, 9, because it would break the entirety of this one. So this is just a 4 or 5 pair. Now that forces this to be the other digit of the 7, 8, 9. Okay. We are moving forward. Now I'm starting... Do I have anything further I can do here? Or is this guy really going to be one of those things that comes in later? Well, I guess we know this can't be 1 or 3, so its bare minimum is 2. This bare minimum is 2. Excuse me. So these are actually 1 higher than we originally thought. Now, if these are both 2s, we could have a 1 on here, but we can't put another 2 on here, so it'd have to be a 1, 3 minimum, which is 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 now. So this just has to be 8. And those bare minimums must occur, which means this is 1 and this is 3. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to get our 8. And that's what this is. Now that removes the possibility of this being a 3. It removes the possibility of this being an 8. And we have a 1, 2, and a 3 now on our Renban. So maybe it's time to look at this Renban and determine what these digits end up actually being. Because we have 1, 2, and 3. So we need 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I know it's a bit excessive to put all these things in here, but we'll go back through and remove stuff. This can't be 4, 5, 7, or 8. These can't have a 4 on them. This can't be a 9. I really don't... this might have been excessive, even to the point where I might think about removing something from it, but we'll continue with it because it's already there. So, is there anything that we just put in here now that's going to give us a digit, or did we jump the gun just slightly here in terms of figuring out this Renban? I think we might have been just a touch early here, because I'm not quite seeing how we can finalize these as of yet. Now, I guess we can say there has to be a 7 here, but that doesn't do much down in this region. We also know none of these can be 7s. Well, I guess that is important. So look at that. These can't have, none of these digits can be 7 because of our Sudoku looking at it. So this Renban cannot have a 7 on it, which means it cannot be a 987. Now the 9 here would also say it can't be 987, but the 7s here looking at it say we cannot have an 8 on it either. And these two 8s are looking in here, but we know these two can't be 8s, so this is 8. Now, we then know that, again, we have 1s looking in here, so there has to be a 1 on here. So if there has to be a 1 on it, it's a 1, 2, 3. Now, that probably would have been the faster way to see what this is, but looking at the opposite way, it did give us a digit anyway, so I'm perfectly happy with that. Now you got 2 and 3 looking up here, so this is 1. This 2 is going to look over here, so the 2 goes here, and the 3 goes here. And we get a doot in the corner. Now we know that these two digits must be from 4 and 9, and we've got a 4 and 9 looking at it, so we get 9 and 4. We also need to put a 3 somewhere in here. We've got these two 3s looking into it that remove all of those, so this is 3. And then these two digits are going to have to be from 5 and 6. And I don't see anything currently that says what we can turn those into in terms of final. And I was looking briefly to see if this column was going to give us something, because we have quite a few digits given, but I think this guy is still going to be any combination of what the remaining ones are, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Maybe there's something in these two rows because they're getting close to being finalized as well. So what do we need in here? We need a 4 somewhere. Can't go in here, so it's got to be in one of these. We need a 5 somewhere. It can go anywhere. The 6 can go anywhere. The 7 has to go down here somewhere. And that's about as far as we're going to take it for now. Okay. So that didn't give us anything super useful at the moment. Let's go back to our Sudoku, because I think we still have stuff left on the table here. One of these is a 1. Okay, the 1s again are striking. I probably should have just followed these 1s, but every time I hit a 1, it gave me something else on some other clue, so I kind of followed that line there. But anyway, the 1s, we can't have any of these. This here can't also be a 1 because it forces us to be a 2, so this is a 1, which means this is some sort of high digit. And actually that 1 here is going to give us our 3 and our 1 here, so let's do that. And we know this isn't a 1 because of that, so this is 1. Is that it for 1s? I think it might be. Yes, it is. Okay. So we know this is a high digit, but it could be 6, 7, or 9 still. So just leave it as such. How about 2s? Looks like we have a bunch of 2s. Yes, we do. And that's going to give this as a 2. Can we finish our 2s? We can. This is a 2. I think that was all of them, right? Yes, it is. Let's look at 3s then. This seems to be helping. 3s. Okay, so we end up with an X-wing of 3s, so we can't go any further just yet there. Our 4s, on the other hand, well, okay, so the 4s are looking at the same thing the 3s are looking at, so this is a 3-4 pair. Does the same occur over here? It does not. Actually, it does, because we can make the inference, because none of these can be 4. No, we can't. I thought we had 4 and 5 looking over here, but we don't. Or the 3 and the 5 looking over here, but we don't. We could still have a 4 here, and it would be a 4-5 pair. All right, so, well, what's this digit? I just saw this column. We have every single digit given. These are a double, so it's going to finish this off. And I think this has to be a 3 then. Yeah, and if I had followed that further, I would have seen that just by the Sudoku, but I didn't notice it. So then what else do we have? We've got 6, 7, 8s, and 9s that have to go in here. But these can only be 6, 7s, and 8s, but that's still not quite getting us there. Okay. Let's go back to our Sudoku and see if we can find something else that's going to help us here. Because we had left off on 4s. I think that might kind of be the high water here for the moment. Yeah, I don't see the 7s being of use at the moment. And I mean, the 8s are slightly useful because we could put this here. Oh, the 8 here, sorry, sees this one. Again, that's another reason why I like to look at these sometimes and just do the double click, because it can really bring to my eye some things that I wouldn't normally see, or I wouldn't necessarily catch right away because I'm not focusing on that. Doing this does that. This 8 sees this. This is 7. Therefore, this has to be 8. And therefore, this is 6 and 9 and 6. We can remove 6s from all of these because we now have our 6 on this Renban line. We can't have another one. This is not a 7 or an 8, it's a 9. which means this isn't 9. Now, one of these two must be. It doesn't. I don't think we can at the moment say which one of those it is. What about these two digits? They're the leftovers for both the column and the region. So we have to have a 7 and an 8. No, there isn't anything looking at that just yet either. That's interesting. Okay. We're left off at 7s, right? Let's look at our 8s again, and then 9s just to take a gander at it. Okay, so 9s, we do have another 9 we can put in, because by Sudoku, none of these can be 9s. So therefore, this is our 9, and that's going to give us our 7 here. We can remove 7 from all of these, and we know this is not a 9 anymore, so this is our 9. I think that's all of the 9s too. Oh, it's going to be once I put the last one here. All right, so it looks like we are well on our way here. We just got to kind of finish this thing off real quick. So the 7 here gives us an 8 and a 7. That 7-8 pair is going to give us our 6, which makes perfect sense with our 1. That's going to give us our 5 and our 6. We're now going to know that this 7 here gives us this. There's only one digit left on this row, so it must be 6. These two have to be from 4 and 5. I don't quite see that yet, but we'll get there, I'm sure. We have one digit left in this region, which must be a 7, and I've broken something. No, I made a mistake. I see it right now where I made my mistake. I should not have ever removed this as being a 7, because this 7 wasn't on that Renban line. Just me being... me not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Easy enough. Confusing some of this stuff. This is our 7 by the exact opposite look at it, and the 7 causes this to be 7. So that should actually get us, yeah, so go back and do what we had previously been doing to get this correct this time. And we end up with an X-wing of 7s at the moment, so we can move on. Now, we had said 7-8 makes this a 6. That's still valid. This cannot be an 8. So we have a 4-5-9 going across here. This obviously can't be 4, so it's either 5 or 9. Which makes what else? Again, there's one more digit on this row. What's it going to be? We need an 8 somewhere. But we can't quite see it here. Oh, this 6 here. That's one I hadn't gotten back to. 5 and 6. Then we can go back here and do this correctly. This must be 6. These must be from 4 and 5. This can't be 9, so get rid of that. We get that 4-5 pair back in here. So now we have a 4-5 pair here. That's great. That forces this to be 9. It also forces this to be 8. And I think that's probably going to give us the last little bits that we need to do this thing. That 9 gives us a 5, 4, 5, 4. This has to be a 9. This then has to be an 8. These two have to be from 5 and 6. And I don't see a 5 or 6 looking at them. So let's look at this guy, because it seems to be the last clue that we haven't really tackled just yet. And I think I looked at it very briefly, but it didn't appear to have any real use at that time, so we didn't do it. So what are the digits left in this column? We need 4, 5, and 6, so we have to have a 5 on here. There's a 5 looking, so this is our 5. That forces this to be 6 and 5, and this must be that 4. And that's going to finish the 3 and the 4. And that's going to finish our 3 over here. And when we're left with one digit here, which must be a 7, when we're left with one digit here, that must be a 5. This is one digit left over. It's a 6. This has to be a 7. These have to be from 6 and 8, and we've got the 8 and the 6, of course. So this is 6, and this is 8, and then our 4, 5 is going to be broken up by the 4, the 5 there. So there we go. I can't talk. You solved the puzzle. The solution is correct. I was trying to read both of these sentences in one turn. and it didn't work. So anyway, excellent little puzzle. I do love the little caricature here. Always just fun to do those sorts of things. The logic was great. I made a small little mistake, obviously, but quickly realized what I had done the second I had a digit come back and say, no, that's not correct. So anyway, love the puzzle. Hope you all did too. And see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.